In this video, I'm going to show you 5 ways to increase your organic traffic fast. Ish. Tip number 1, make sure that you're using your target keywords in your page headlines, in your page titles, which are behind the scenes, and the copy on your page. Suggesting that you use keywords in an SEO video feels really old school and like such basic advice, but still, in the majority of the sites that we're sent to review, we find ourselves recommending people use the phrases that their customers are searching for in the headlines and in the copy on the page. If the headline to your homepage, for example, is "Welcome to Exposure Ninja," think about that for a second. 1, do I actually feel welcomed by reading the word welcome? 2, that's completely redundant and pointless. And then 3, it doesn't tell me anything about who you are, what you do, why I should buy from you, or what I'm supposed to do next. So more often than not, your main headline should be a descriptive description of what's on the page using your main target keywords. Tip number 2, stop writing blogs that nobody cares about. I mean, strictly speaking, if the world stopped writing blogs that no one cares about, most of the blog posts in the world would disappear overnight. But it doesn't have to be like this. Your blog can be a rich and profitable source of visitors for your website. How? Well, if you use your blog to actually answer the questions that your customers are searching for example, so here I am on Answer the Public, and I'm just going to look at, let's say I'm a business that's all about penguins. I'm going to stick in my query here, and it's going to show me all of the questions that people have about penguins. And then when it's loaded, what I can do is I'll be able to see all of those questions. So for example, they're grouped here under why. So why penguins are endangered, why penguins are the best, why penguins are birds, why penguins poop on each other. Why do penguins poop on each other? Will penguins bite? How penguins are born? How penguins lay eggs? So if my business was all about penguins and I just wanted to increase traffic from people who are interested in penguins, all of these topics would be good fodder for me to write blog posts about. So let's say I had a business around penguin extinction. The next thing I could do is just type in, let's say I type it on Google, are penguins going to become extinct? And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for these related questions, because Google clearly thinks that these related questions are the relevant topics in this cluster. So what I would want to do in my blog post is I'd want to answer this main question here in more detail than this article, and then I'd also want to use these subheadlines. Now, how many penguins are left in the world 2018? I'd want to obviously replace it with this year's date. But if I answer all of these questions as well, we know that Google is thinking, right, these are all really relevant to that type of search, so that's going to help me. And then at the bottom you'll see here, searches related to are penguins going to become extinct? Again, these are also sub-headlines that you could use, or related blog topics that you could write. Tip number 3, have different pages on your website to target the different services that you offer. For example, we're going to do some role play right now, so close your eyes, be calm, you can lie on the floor if you want to. I want you to imagine that you're in the zoo. When an aeroplane flies over the penguin enclosure, the penguins look up and they fall over. Someone has to go in and stand those penguins back up again. That is my job. I am a professional penguin stander-upper. But the other thing that happens in the zoo when the aeroplane flies over is that the seals who are looking, they turn to look, and as they look, they roll over on their backs. And me, the penguin stander-upper, I've just passed my seal roller-overer qualification. So I'm now qualified to go and roll over the seals. So I've got my penguin stand-upper service and I've got my seal roller-overer service. Now I would have these on separate pages of my website, because if the zookeeper is looking for someone to roll over the seals, he or she is going to be typing in seal roller-overer, or a related term, walrus roller-overer, seal rotator, and if I've got an entire separate page on my site targeting that service and using those variation keywords, I've got a much better chance of ranking for that term than if I just have one services page where I talk about all the different sea mammals that I'm able to correct. Tip number 4 is to write more content on your pages. And no, I'm not talking about filling your pages with mountains of impenetrable, boring, 3-point invisible block text that no one's ever going to read. I'm talking about making sure your pages answer all of your customers' questions. So if my zookeeper client has any questions about my seal roller over a service, I'm going to answer those questions on that page. That page is going to be the most detailed and informative page about rolling seals that anybody has ever read. Not that it would take much. So I'm going to answer all the objections somebody might have on using that service. I'm going to talk about all the variations. I'm going to give some example case studies. I'm going to say how many seals I can roll over every hour. I'm going to give situations where the seals might have rolled over. Basically any question you're going to have about that service, I'm going to answer on that page. Imagine that your best salesperson is out there talking to a potential customer. What are the questions that customer's going to have, and how much information is that salesperson going to communicate? If we think that the visitor doesn't need that information just because they're on your website rather than talking to your salesperson, we're crazy. If anything, they need more information from the website than the salesperson because they don't have that in-person contact. So think about what are the top questions and objections people are going to have about doing business with you, about each of your different services, about even getting in contact with you, and let's make sure that all of those are answered in the copy on their pages. If you do that, you'll find actually your pages have a really good amount of content on anyway, which is naturally going to include your keywords and your variants, so they're going to be much more likely to rank, but they'll also keep your visitors engaged longer because people will spend time reading what's on the pages. Now the design people will say, yeah, whoa. You don't want to have loads of text because it's your images that need to do the talking. A picture tells 1,000 words. And to that, I say, you know what tells 1,000 words? 1,000 words. Or 500 if you're really good and really concise. But more information on your pages doesn't have to damage the aesthetic of your site. It's the designer's job to make a site look nice with the text that needs to be on that page. It shouldn't be the other way around. Your site is a sales machine first and a beautiful thing second. And we need to keep that in mind at all times. It's loading. Still loading. Tip number 5 is to make sure that your site loads quickly. People get hung up on loading times, and there's a Google Page Speed Insights test, there's GT metrics tests, all of these different tests, and they'll each give you different scores. Some of these scores bear little resemblance to reality, so the best thing to do is to load your site on different devices on a mixture of cellular connections and Wi-Fi connections and see what the real world data tells you. We have client sites ranking at the top of Google, massive crazy conversion rates. You put them in to the Google Page Speed Insights test and it'll give you a score of like 35 on mobile. So technically it's a disaster, but in reality it performs extremely well. So don't get too caught up on the numbers, but the actual load time of the website is important. So have a look in analytics, see how long it's actually taking people to load your sites, and use these tools, but with caution, to make sure that your site is loading quickly. If your site doesn't load quickly enough, the problem is that's going to impact user engagement. So people are going to be leaving, and when Google sees them leaving, that's an indication that your site really isn't that good quality. And all the signs point to Google actually using your website's loading time as a ranking factor as well. So best make sure it's nice and snappy. My 10-second quick tip on load times is if you're on a shared host, something like GoDaddy or a cheap hosting package where you're paying like £10 a month or something, contact them, say load speed isn't enough, can you move me to a faster server? Often they will. Sometimes they'll just tell you that they have and they won't do anything at all, but it's worth asking. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more digital marketing videos from myself and the team here at Exposure Ninja, then don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And if audio is more your thing, then check out the Exposure Ninja Digital Marketing Podcast, where every week I interview some of the world's smartest digital marketing minds, and they take us behind the scenes of a particular digital marketing strategy that they're using, which is getting great results. So you can find this on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Store, Spotify, I don't know, all the podcast places that you know and love. So check that out in the description below. And don't forget to also follow us on socials for more awesome content. Until next time, see you in the next video.